the 217th episode of CloudFocus Weekly for the last week of June 2015. This episode is titled Junebug. CloudFocus Weekly is brought to you by Clone This User. Clone an existing Salesforce user with a click of a button via the desktop or Salesforce One mobile. Available for free on the App Exchange, or go to www.clonethisuser.com. I'm your host, Jason Atwood, and joining me, back from the dead,
Almost.
Mr. Justin Edelstein. Justin, how are you doing? And I really mean it. How are you doing?
I'm almost 100%. You can
lost
probably hear in my voice that I'm not quite 100% just yet, but I'm getting there. And maybe talking on this podcast isn't the best way to get all the way back, but I'm going to power through because we haven't podcasted in like a month, and
Almost
that's kind of a lot of it on me. So
yeah, we had you
might be sniffling into the mic.
You were a little
bit.
under the weather there for a bit, and then
yeah.
And then things happened, and then we don't podcast. Because generally when... I haven't figured this... Actually, ask you about this. Something maybe we should ask the audience.
Okay.
So,
are you going to ask me first and then solicit feedback from the audience?
Or are you just tell you what we're doing, and then I'm just going to rhetorically...
Oh, you're going to do that thing. Okay.
So I was talking to another podcaster who you met the other day.
Oh, I did?
Yes. And we were talking about...
Is she going to hear this, or
Yes.
can I comment on her?
Well, you can comment on her, but
No,
she is
we'll
going
leave
to
it
hear
be.
Yeah, all right.
She was cool.
Yeah.
I enjoyed her company. She had a good presence about her.
And she has, so it's, I don't really meet a lot of podcasters. I mean, there's the Salesforce ones, but we don't like sit down and have like a...
There's other podcasters?
Yeah, there are other podcasters. One of the things she talked about was redoing podcasts. So I guess this is in the podcast world, kind of like Howard Stern on Fridays, where they take an old episode,
A classic?
and they repost it.
Sure.
So in the weeks that we missed, so I was thinking like, oh wow, you were out sick for a while. And I was like, wow, I could have taken one of our special episodes,
Our greatest hits,
and I could have reposted it.
Yeah, the timeless ones,
like the GTD, the customer service, like we did
meetings.
A bunch.
I think we did one on.
We did a meetings one. We probably owe a good one. But anyway,
yeah, we should do one of those.
I could repost the top 10 TV,
NGO Connect. Like we had a bunch of them.
Wow, really? Really?
It was a special episode. It was focused on one topic.
What was the title? What did we
It
call
was just called NGO Connect.
Oh, wow.
Connected company.
You're just asking.
Connected nonprofit.
You're asking for it. Yeah, so what do you think?
Are you a connected nonprofit?
What do you think about that? Like on a holiday week, if I
think they need to be the timeless ones. Like I don't think.
Well, obviously,
or maybe like.
What the first one or something?
No, I don't want to even hear that. But
well, you don't have to hear it.
I listen to them, but I think we could post also like Dreamforce ones, like live from Dreamforce ones.
Really?
Yeah, I do, because they're just at a special event. So they're like kind of like, reliving Dreamforce from 2013 kind of thing.
Well, we are coming up in July. We'll come up on 5 years of podcasting.
Yeah,
this podcast.
That's a long time. We're like the godfathers of this game.
We are, because there's more sprouting up. Anyway, I thought about doing that. So anyway, something to consider. So you were sick. We didn't podcast.
I'm still a little.
But you know what we
under the
did
weather.
continue to do?
We did continue to blog post, and I also blog posted. I did some stuff while I was sick, which is good.
So we have basically, because there's a little light on news, but we can catch up with that stuff sort of next week.
Yeah,
but
we'll catch up on Salesforce One tour and connections that was here in New York last week, which we attended.
Right,
we'll catch you up on that next week.
Because this week we're going to go over all the blogs, the last 4 blogs that we haven't talked about, and some of them are about 2 Summer 15, the end of the Summer 15 stories. Because Summer 15 is live. I was actually playing
what else
some
we
of the
missed?
features. What?
WWDC.
Oh, right. We'll put that on WWDC. Put that on next week.
Okay. I wouldn't mind just chiming a little bit on this week. I want to kind of talk about Apple Music a little bit.
No, because it's not even out. It's coming out like tomorrow.
Yeah, I want to talk about my thoughts before it comes out.
No.
I think because that's a good idea.
No, it's better to talk about it when it comes out. Then we can talk about the reality. Don't be the guy who talks about something.
But I'm not going to even have it.
It's free for 3 months.
So I'm going to have the free version?
Yeah.
They're not going to lock me into and just charging me for stuff, are they?
Everybody's getting free trial for 3 months.
All right.
You'll have it.
Well, I'm not going to buy it, but okay.
You can't say where you're going to buy something until you try it.
No, I could say I'm not. What are you talking about? You always buy things before trying things for the most part all the time. Everything you buy, you don't get to try first.
Right. But things that are try first, you try them, and then you decide whether you want to buy them.
I've already decided I'm not buying it.
You know how many things that I could say that you've decided and then reverse course and then are wearing on your activity tracking watch?
Do I
Exactly.
Do I get to I get to get rid of iTunes Match if I have Apple Music?
I have 10 years of you reversing course on things you said you weren't
Do
going
I
to
get to
Don't
get
know.
rid of my iTunes Match?
They're not connected.
I guess I don't really get the point of iTunes Match if there's Apple Music.
I think we need to have the damn thing come out. We'll talk about WDC, then we'll talk about Apple Music next week.
All right,
All right,
whatever.
let's
Fine, whatever you say. I don't care.
That's the way it works.
What is this? Ideas being delivered
Yes.
in Summer 15? We're still in Summer 15 mode,
Well,
aren't we?
it's still summer. In fact, the summer just kicked off 5 days ago.
All right, you
All
want
right.
to talk about some of these?
Yeah, sure. So we
What do you
have...
want to talk about?
Well, so on the blog.arkusinc.com, there are 4. You have to go back a couple. You will notice that the new pictures, everybody has a picture on their blog post now, and everybody's updated their picture. So you can see who they are.
You can even click on their name and see the things that they've published in the past.
Yeah, you can actually see all of their things. Kind of neat. So that's new on the blog.
It's hot on the streets.
Hot. All right. So
Also, nice new responsive design on the website.
yes, mobile works much better now. Soon, content will be refreshed any day.
Any day now.
So we do a whole series. This is the end of the series because I think we've done 5 or so. Only
We do
Dreamforce.
quite a few for every release. We do
yeah, I noticed you
an
took
overarching rapid release note thing, a sales, a service, an ideas,
And now a new developer.
and a developer.
And
5.
we used to have a work.com one.
Yeah, we rolled that into sales.
We used to do like a banking one.
Yeah, it just didn't make sense.
The blog masters.
It just didn't.
It's not very good.
Didn't make sense.
Or maybe he was sick and didn't think about it. All
Definitely
right.
that.
So we got a lot of ideas
Sure.
that got killed off by
A lot of points retired.
A lot of points, which is good.
Although some not so many points. Just like
Features.
that they were going to do, and there just happened to be an idea there, so they retired it.
Yeah. So let's talk about actually a big one. I think that sort of has the most points here. Yeah, it does. Which is editing feed posts
And
comments.
Yes.
So this is 24,000 points, and
Right.
now in Summer 15 you can turn on as a feature on custom profiles. It's on automatically on standard profiles.
It's on automatically on the standard profile.
Weird.
The permission to do so.
Permission to do so, which is the ability to edit a post after you post in Cheddar.
Right.
And that immediately broke our app, Compliance Locker.
Didn't break it.
Well,
Didn't break it, just probably took it out of compliance.
it's just no longer in
It's
compliance.
not broke. Like, nothing is broken
true.
about
It's
it.
working.
It works. It just doesn't capture
It doesn't
those
capture the edit.
edits. And I'm actually looking now to see if this is like an org-wide setting or if it's really just a profile thing. It's actually an org-wide setting. So I know that there's there's one setting at the org level. If you go to the chatter area in the setup, just chatter settings, you can uncheck a box that says allow users to edit posts and comments. And that'll basically just wipe it. But by default, when winter rolled, this thing was on.
Winter?
Sorry. I told you I'm sick. When summer rolled, this was on.
Is it a
and
podcast or a blog?
I think it's a podcast. Standard profiles got this permission. Now, there are actually 2 permissions on the profile. 2 separate
New.
permissions. So there's one, I can't quite remember exactly what they're called, so I'm just going to go to a profile really quick just to say like what they are. One has to do with editing posts that you made, and the other has to do with editing posts on records you own. They're 2 separate permissions that you can give out, obviously separately. So let me read to you exactly what they are. One is called edit my own posts, and the other is called edit posts on records I own. So you could give out one and not the other.
Right. So the idea being I own a contact record. someone posts something on it, I could edit their post.
Correct. Or an opportunity.
Okay.
Or
makes
anything,
sense.
really.
Right.
As long as you own it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So that's out there.
And then work.com had a bunch of stuff. Really, the enhanced goals, which we've been piloting.
Yeah, we've been in this pilot for a couple of releases now.
Yeah.
Since last year, actually. Create a goal for a group, which we haven't done.
So I like that as a
it's a nice concept.
Yep.
Assign goals, so managers are able to create a goal and push it to their direct reports.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, it is a good one. You can unlock a goal, so a goal that was submitted can now be unlocked.
I also noticed that goals now, and maybe it's just the metric icons are now real.
They are.
And they follow the actual percentage of the metric.
They do, as long as you refresh them.
Right. So it's kind of cool.
Nice.
When we've been really using goals now.
Have you been playing with the coaching spaces?
No.
So coaching is good for two purposes.
Okay.
The first purpose of coaching is you get a private chatter feed one-on-one with the person.
Available to every system admin. So just make sure when you say that private is not private.
Yeah, it's not perfectly 100% private.
Right. Well, there's some things in Salesforce that are private. Like my
system
reports.
admins can see those things.
Right. But my reports, they cannot.
Right. My personal documents, whatever. In addition to that, you have a space where you have this chatter feed to collaborate. You have activities, whatever, like we met on this day, whatever. But you also have two related lists, and they're for metrics. One are completed metrics,
right,
and the other are open or not completed,
right,
whatever they label it. So it's nice to be able to just go to that record, that coaching record, and be like, instead of traversing your way through like 5 or 6 goals,
right,
just looking at the metrics,
right,
and saying, okay, here's the open ones when you're having a conversation, and be like, let's talk about these where you're behind,
right,
or these where you've excelled. So I really like the coaching page personally.
So that's all the stuff. I mean, there's tons more on the Idea Exchange.
Yeah. Want to talk a little bit about Process Builder?
Yeah, Process Builder got a bunch as well. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, you were asking me. Okay. You can immediately delete a process now.
That's
nice. In the past, you'd create a process. I still don't really love the Process Builder interface. Like, there's a lot to be improved there around like versioning. You can't just edit something. You have to deactivate it or clone it and then create a new version. I guess it's nice if you screw up, you can go back, but I don't know. I'm so used to workflow where you can just edit the criteria or just add a new action or something.
Right.
This is like not like that at all. And also, you used to not be able to delete them if you had to wait like 12 hours or something.
That makes sense.
And then you just were able to delete them.
That makes no
now
sense.
You can just delete them. Well, it's just a UI on top of Flow anyway. It's like the components themselves it's just a flow that you're building.
But why does it have these weird restrictions around it about editing
and
versioning and
I don't know. I think that's a Flow thing. I think the Flow engine was always built with like different versions. And now it's come to fruition with a Process Builder user interface on top of Flow to make it a little easier. I've been playing around with them this week, actually, Process Builder. I've done a couple really simple ones, but doing a couple more, I wouldn't necessarily call them super complicated, but, doing things with them that you would have to typically write a trigger to do, which was nice to be able to declaratively do that.
Awesome.
Relating child records to parent records.
Yep.
It's really nice.
I'm a big fan. Haven't been using it very much, but I'm a fan of the concept.
Clearly a huge fan.
I'm a fan of the concept. I haven't really dug in, but I need to. All right, so we'll move on to the next blog post, Summer 15 for Developers. So this is written by someone, actually his face is right there on the blog post, but we've deemed him the developer guy who is sort of going down a more developer package. I'm reading and talking, can't do it at the same time. And so he's gonna, I guess, this is gonna be on. Is it be continuing? Is it gonna be
Yes.
every single time?
Yep.
Okay, great. So he's pointing out a bunch of the things that are in the summer 15 notes that are for developers. That's the part that I start just skipping. I'm like, oh, I'm not going to read all this. The API changes, and oh god, I'm just not going to wait.
There's a couple interesting things that he brought up here.
Go for it. Tell me one.
One of the changes to the REST API with I can't remember what they called it in the release notes, and I don't think he called it quite what they called it, but he just said on the S object tree, I think they called it like tree something, where you can create in a single request records and child records.
Oh, okay.
So you can have like, an account and contacts or an account and opportunities in one single request.
Right.
So
whereas
like,
before you had to go,
tree,
you have to go create the account and then come back,
round trip it.
Right.
So, and custom objects too. So you can sort of leverage out of the box logic now to do that instead of creating a custom endpoint to handle that. Right. You would have to write a service that would handle the creation of like nested objects.
Right.
So now you could just the REST API. I think this was in pilot from what I read in the release notes, although that's not pointed out here, so I could be wrong again. So that was one that I thought was a rather interesting enhancement. And then there's the encryption at rest for data. So
yes.
You've been dealing with a client that's very interested in encrypted fields and encryption at rest and hashing data and
yes.
all sorts of fun integration stuff.
Yes.
So maybe you can talk a little bit about this encryption at rest for all data. I might be putting you on the spot.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So, I mean, it's really getting into encryption, which if you haven't turned off the podcast when he started talking about REST APIs, you're definitely going to turn it off now. But it's okay. You already downloaded it. We don't care. In the security world, there are different levels of encryption. And, there's like encrypted, there's and then encrypted at rest is the higher level, meaning when it's in its actual end form sitting on a hard drive, if you want to think about it that way, like when it's actually at rest on the server. I know it seems kind of strange because we don't think about hard drive and stuff. Is that piece of data encrypted? Right. So the idea is, again, if you're in the security world, if someone were to go into the Salesforce platform, break through the doors of one of their pods, the North, NA15, and find the servers and steal the drives, right? This is all theoretical, but this is the theory.
I have them in my pocket right now.
And take the drives with them and to run away with all of the Salesforce data. Now, of course, this is almost impossible stuff, but let's just go down the path. If I try to get the data out of those fields, the actual fields written to and sitting in on the drive is encrypted. And so you could never get the data out, right? As opposed to
it's in the drive.
It's encrypted, but at rest on the actual physical hardware that it's written to. So there's been encryption, but it was encrypted in the software, not at the hardware level. So that's about as far as my understanding goes.
Okay.
This now you can encrypt things at this another level, but you still have limitations around the fields and what you can do with them. So while for some people tracking, let's say, a social, great, you can do that. You could say, here's a field, I'm encrypting it at rest at this new high level, fine, but you still can't use that for an external ID. So whereas a lot of people, one of the problems is that using in integrations is the field that you're trying to encrypt is also the field that you're using as a unique identifier as part of your integration, right? I'm uniquely identifying Justin Edelstein. Well, I don't know much about you to make you unique on the world. Social is usually something we use to make you unique, meaning it's a piece of data I can then integrate from other places. So,
unless the source system is like the master and it only has one of me and it has its own external ID.
Right. And that happens a lot, except for when you're doing many sources, all the systems don't agree. So wherein, on system A, they have a customer ID for you. On system B, they don't have the customer ID for you. So you need to have something across both that basically we agree that there's one and only one Justin. So,
Great.
And
so then
I was going to point out, can I point out one that
I was going to go to two more from this from this particular blog. Sorry,
the
you got me.
podcast.
So
Got
from
you
this
already.
one, so maybe you'll grab one that I was going to grab. Go ahead.
I was going to say the ISV stuff.
Yeah, there's two in there that are pretty cool.
Delete components from the managed packages. So we talk a lot about managed packages. That's the ability to create code that you can deploy by the App Exchange into other people's orgs, but it's a protected code, meaning I can't go in and see the code of a managed package that I've installed. So, and I can push upgrades to it. We talked about all that. One of the limitations of managed packages, which we've talked about, is that you don't have a lot of ability to clean things up. While you can push in new stuff kind of easily, which is a little scary, you can't pull stuff out, which is just as scary. But so if you build stuff, if you have things in your managed package, it's hard to remove them. So you have a lot of if you see managed package, you go and you'll see a lot of fields are renamed or they're just not
usually
used
deprecated or
so this will allow
whatever.
you to actually, if you're not using a field or not using some part of the package, you can then actually remove
custom
it.
settings.
Yes.
A lot of times.
Yes.
This is only available to select partners.
So in other words, it ain't for everybody. It's
Not
for the guys who are
everyone.
suffering from this.
Yes.
Probably something we've already mentioned.
And something we haven't. And I thought that this other one is actually a nice move forward for not just ISVs, but for anyone who's developing, which is the custom metadata types. So we oftentimes here at Arkus will use custom settings, or even if it's a bigger thing, like a custom object, to do name value pair type things,
right?
Or a list of settings, just data that you need to reference in your code that you don't want to hard code inside of your Apex because you don't want to hard code it. It might change, things of that nature. So this custom metadata type is sort of the next step on a custom setting where you'll actually be able to deploy it with the data in it.
Oh.
So a custom setting is really just, it's kind of like an object. And then within that object, there are records. Well, you can deploy the sort of metadata around the object of the custom setting from one environment to another. But what you can't do is actually deploy the record
that has the data
that
in
has
it.
all the data in it.
Right. So if let's say I have settings that are I need to have A, B, and C, I can deploy the thing that I have to say, you need to go and create new setting.
You need to create a new record
called
this.
Right.
And then go into that, manage it, and then fill in the data.
Right.
Or you can write a UI around it.
Right.
I find that this is going to be a nice thing for in particular for ISVs, but it'll also be good for SIs like us who use custom settings a lot in our development processes.
So then we'll be able to push it with the code,
push it and
with
not have
the
to then
values.
do a bunch of manual stuff. Now, oftentimes when you're we use custom settings a lot to integrate with other systems, and from sandboxes you're often integrating with other development environments. So you'll put the endpoint of the URL that of the service you're integrating with.
Right.
Now in sandbox and production, those are going to be different things. And of course, when you refresh your sandbox, you want to make sure you go into that custom setting and actually.
Sounds like a lesson you learned.
Yeah, a lesson I learned a little while ago. But anyway, custom metadata types, they're available, but there's no user interface for them right now.
Interesting.
So if you want to use them, you have to use the metadata API to actually define them. Presumably, you can do this through Workbench at the moment, but I'm going to wait till there's a UI to actually use them for anything.
Cool. Next up on our path down blogging
Are we out of summer yet?
Yes, we're out of summer.
All right, cool.
Summer is released. Sales Path implementation tips and tricks, written by yours truly.
Or tricks and tips.
Or tips and tricks.
Or tricks and tips.
Yes. Did I say it Oh, I said different on both?
However you want to say
I
it.
said tricks and tips and tips and tricks.
Yeah, you did.
Yes. So Sales Path, a Spring 15 feature, is a mobile only for now ability to take stages in an opportunity and make them sort of, into sort of graphic elements at the top saying, arrow, you're on this stage, and this stage, this stage. So kind of showing a path to the opportunity stages on your mobile device. Very useful. You can also then expose 5 main fields. So when you're looking at it on your device, if you think about it, I'm looking at this, and there's a great picture here, I think of a test opportunity, which the salesperson pinged me about, by the way, when I put this in our org. They're like, what's this?
Testy?
It's not even testy.
It's Tessie.
It's Tessie. It's like, what's this opportunity? I'm like, it's a thing. I deleted it. So then you can expose 5 fields.
Good job by a sales guy. He even saw it. He's like,
saw it.
he's on top of it.
I was like, what's this?
He's like, what is this?
It's for $10,000 too.
What is this? It's this $10,000 thing. Get this out of my
opportunity.
face.
So then you can expose 5 fields sort of in the top view, which you can easily edit. So if you think about it, it's kind of like another page layout, because you create a new view of this opportunity. And the idea is, okay, I have an opportunity that maybe I'm tracking 30, 40 fields on, but in this stage, I only want the person to be focused on these 5 fields. These are the only 5 fields you need to do to kind of move it along. And there's the ability to kind of say, with a checkbox, you can kind of go, I'm done with this stage, and it will move it to the next stage. So you don't have to go quick, drag, drop, or pull down, pick list, stage, and hit save. You can just say, I'm done with this stage, next stage, and then it'll move it for you. So
That's kind of neat.
It's a neat feature. I set it up in our org, and I was kind of like,
it's a lightning component, no?
Probably.
Looks like one.
Might be. Hopefully.
Looks like just a lightning component to me.
So I put some things about that you should think about when you're implementing. Again, it's not a heavy feature. It's light, but there's a couple of things. Like when you're doing it, the fields that you're looking at, I originally put like the name of the opportunity and the stage and the amount.
Well, it's all already
because
there.
they're already in there, but they don't show you that when you're looking at the wizard, because the wizard doesn't tell you what's above it. So anyway, but it's a nice new feature, and safe harbor. This probably will end up being something that you see in on opportunities soon.
Have we not seen it just at the SF1 tour on a screen?
We did.
Didn't we see it like on the desktop?
I've also seen a demo that they gave to a client.
Maybe it was like one app that they were showing.
I saw them show it to a client in a demo
on the desktop.
Yeah, so on the desktop.
So
I'm not giving away anything.
It's probably
here.
Coming around the corner.
And I said, "What is that?" I said, "Is that Sales Path?" And he goes, "Yeah, it's the version that hasn't come out yet." And I'm like, "Okay, you're showing that to a client." And that's why they do Safe Harbor.
That's why Safe Harbor exists.
Yep. All right, and now moving up to you.
Oh, hey, I wrote this one.
You wrote this one called
Passing the Pardot Certified Consulting Exam. How to prepare for and study to pass this exam, this Pardot Certified Consultant.
Nice.
So I have this certification.
Nice.
I think I'm the only one here at Arkus that has it.
So far.
Might be like one of 12 people in the universe that has this. I don't know any other certified Pardot consultants, but anyway. So I wanted to give everyone a good understanding of how to go about tackling this test, because there's a lot of information on the interwebs around how to study for the Salesforce administrator exam, and how to pass the developer exam, and how to pass the advanced developer exam, and the advanced I skipped that one, like how to pass all these other Salesforce exams. But then there's this Pardot test, and I didn't really find much when I was looking for it on how to go about studying for the test. And the hard part is, like, Pardot doesn't really give you a place to play. There's no playground unless you're a partner, and then you can get one.
Right.
But if you're not a partner and you just want to, like, I guess I don't know where that falls, but at the time, let's just say at the time when I was taking this exam,
It was last December.
They wouldn't give us one.
Right.
I guess they've changed their mind on that.
And you went in first shot and got it right and passed the test, so you didn't even need
False.
Oh.
So I took it and I failed. So then I really went back. No, it's cool. I took it. I went back like 5 days later and passed it. But I actually thought that experience of failing it really helped me, because it showed me that all the things that I didn't study, like all the things I needed to study, and I didn't know where that stuff was, and it helped me because I then found sort of the magic secret sauce to passing this test, which to me was the Pardot knowledge base.
Right.
So there's a plethora of they're like hands-on trainings. They're more instructor led, but on a video. So they're video led, like where you walk through these tutorials and it's like click here, click here, click here to do this.
Right.
And that's good for like really understanding like email deliverability, email flow, forms, form handlers. Even the drip campaign piece of that was really good. Campaigns themselves, like email templates, list building, dynamic lists, so on and so forth, automation rules. But where it fell flat was on a lot of the technical stuff and the connectors and all the different things you can do with connectors, and the connection with Salesforce and the connection with Google, and having to do things on your email server, and all those things like weren't really in this tutorial. So that's where the knowledge base really kicked it in for me. And I basically read the knowledge base from front to back.
Right.
And it took some time. I mean, I'll say, like, you can see I spent 620 minutes on just the video tutorials alone, and I probably spent another 3 to 5 hours just reading the knowledge base.
So
like
12-hour commitment.
12 to 15-hour commitment in studying.
Right.
Plus failing the test once. So, it's, you know, and I considered that like a study event because I learned what I didn't know. But at the end of the day, I think if you follow what I've sort of constructed here, you'll have a pretty successful go of it. I even described the test itself. So it's a 60-question multiple choice test. And it's different from the other Salesforce tests that I've taken, where it's like choose 3 out of 5 or choose the best 2 or 2 out of 4, whatever. This is true multiple choice. 4 answers. There's one right one. And
you did it through, it was Web Assessor?
Web Assessor, in person.
Proctored,
the whole 9. Same exact procedure as the other Salesforce exams that all of you have already taken.
We have.
And basically, you get 90 minutes to take these 60-question tests, and you've got to score 70%.
Nice.
And like all the other tests, you won't know what you scored. You'll just know that you passed or you failed, which is a very frustrating thing. Although when you pass, you really don't care.
You don't care. You're
but
on.
When you fail, you really want to know.
Be like, it's nice to know what I failed on.
It'd be nice to know if I got like 30% or 68%.
Well, that's
I missed
true.
by like 2 questions.
That would be nice. And then the areas that you didn't know.
Well, the areas would be amazing, because then it's like, okay, here's what I need to study.
Right.
But I've heard through the grapevine that Salesforce is working on a new LMS, which could potentially impact the actual test format itself.
Right.
So we'll see.
All right. Well, all of that, those 4 blog posts and many more. Again, we're coming up. I think July is our blogging anniversary as well. So 5 years. The blogiversary is coming up in July.
Podcast-iversary?
I mean, I could pull up the date if you really want me.
When's the blogiversary and when's the podiversary?
The blogiversary is, let's see, blogiversary is going back 400 and let's
2010 probably.
So it looks like it doesn't have what's up with Facebook and WhatsApp?
Yeah.
Let's see.
I think I wrote that one.
Yeah, I can't tell when it was. Oh yeah, I guess I have to log in.
That was our first blog post, really?
Yeah. Let's see. Edit. Take a look. Take a look at the background here. Dates.
Very compelling.
Yes. It doesn't have any of it.
All right.
Okay.
Well, we'll never know.
We will never know. No, it's in July of
All right, July.
Hold on. Why
The whole month.
Why can't I find this? Why can't I find a date? That's kind of bugging me.
You know what? I don't care.
Okay. Oh, modified February. No, because that's when we did. All right. Hold on. I want to find it. Created February 28th, 2014. That can't be.
That's not right.
That's
that must
not
have
right.
been like from.
Oh, right. That's like when we.
or something.
Yeah, we might have migrated to it. Oh, I can't tell them. Anyway, it's in July. It's in July of some point. And then our first podcast, which is easier to find because they're all dated, which is nice, was called Cloud Launch. And it was episode 1, and it was 7/14.
All right.
So 2010, 7/14. So 7/14, that'll be our 5-year our anniversary.
Very cool.
So maybe we'll republish. And you picked Google Wave. I picked Google Wave, and you picked Dupe Blocker 2.
Nice.
One of those things still exists. Speaking of CloudFocus app picks of the week, let's make ours.
All right.
So you can go first. Oh, next time. So next time we're going to do New York Tour and Worldwide Developer Corporation, including Apple Music and all the announcements. You're now going to make a pick. Please.
I just pulled out my phone just to see what my sleep score was last night.
This is the one pick that we can now actually both pick at the same time because
way back when.
Yes.
I funded a project on Kickstarter.
You did.
Called The Sense from a company called Hello. And The Sense is a device. I guess you'd call it a device, right?
Yes.
Yeah, device. It's a little orb that tracks conditions in your bedroom and then using a little connector thing called a pill, it tracks your actual sleep and then starts to mash them together and gives you an idea of how well you sleep over time. So last night, before I went to sleep, my room's noise level was just right. It was a little dry in my room.
Yeah, mine was pretty dry.
AQI was moderately high, which is
AQI?
The air quality.
Okay. That was just right.
The room's light level was just right, and it was pretty hot in my room
because you turn on the AC
we
before you
turn
go
on
to
the
bed.
AC just before I go to bed.
Right.
Now, my sleep summary, I slept for 8.6 hours last night.
Jeez.
And I slept soundly for 3.2 of those hours. I went into bed at 9:30, and I actually fell asleep at 10:12, early to bed. And then I had some nice chunks of good sleep. My alarm went off at 5:50, and I got out of bed at 6:25. So, the Sense itself also acts as a smart alarm, which I have it set for. So what it does is you tell it like around about when you want to wake up. So mine is set for 5:45. And what it does is it understands where you are in your sleep cycle, and it'll choose kind of like the lightest part of your sleep cycle within 30 minutes prior to the time in which you've set your alarm. So I know I think mine's set for 5:55 actually. So I know I'm going to wake up somewhere between like 5:30 and 5:55.
Right.
And I will say, since I've been using this, which is about a month, I used to be a snooze person, and I'd have to snooze at least twice before I actually got up.
Double snooze.
I've not had to do that, and I've never fallen back asleep. Like, there's no more snoozing in my life, which I think is a good thing.
That's a good thing.
My sleep score's been good. My sleep timeline's really good. I've had good insights on, like, what, I don't think I'm quite at the point where it could analyze and tell me, like, what I could be doing differently.
Right.
But I think it's just the more data at my fingertips, the better. And you were showing me yesterday how I can now push that into the health app.
Yes.
On the iOS. So now I've got my sleep data pushing into my health dashboard. So my dashboard is actually now filling up with data, where it used to just be like steps. Now it's using my watch and it's using the sense to pull in like steps and, you know, heart rate, sleep, and it's starting to become kind of this nice dashboard. So while I'm not picking that because I don't think it's a great app, I am picking the sense. You'll kind of get a little addicted to it, like anything. When you start tracking steps, you kind of get addicted to like steps. Well, now I'm tracking my sleep, and I'm kind of a little addicted to looking at it every day. Like, how'd I actually sleep last night? And I have found that I have been going to sleep earlier because I'm now tracking my sleep.
Right.
And I think that like
just stepping more because you're tracking your steps.
And I think that that's great for me because I think I should be sleeping about 8 hours a night. And I used to wake up early regardless, but I'd go to sleep at around midnight. So I'd wake up still at about 5:45, but now I've only gotten 5-6 hours of sleep, and who knows how much actual deep sleep. Now I know I'm getting 8 hours a night, and I'm getting 4-5 hours of really good deep sleep. I think that's great.
So I think I just want to explain, because I have one too. I set it up later.
I didn't really talk about the setup, did I?
Yeah, so
I'll talk a little bit about it.
You want to? Okay.
Yeah, well, it's my pick, so
right.
I'll take it. So the sense itself is an orb. It's a little circle.
Did you get black or white?
The charcoal, the black one.
Yeah, okay, me too.
It just fit the decor of the room better. So that in itself is kind of the brain, right? It sets up really easily with an app on your phone, and then you get these things called a pill, and I got 2 of them, one for myself and one for my wife, where the pill clips onto your pillowcase,
right,
and connects to the sense in kind of an odd way. You shake it, and it connects through the phone to because the phone, it's kind of like on a Wi-Fi network, right? The sense creates its own little network, and it connects via the phone. And then the pill, you shake it, and you're basically on the app on the phone saying, "I'm setting up my pill now,
right,
for me," and you start shaking it, and it connects to the sense.
Connects to the device, not your phone. The pill doesn't talk to your phone.
Right, to the sense. Right. So then you clip it on, and it really does as good of a job as you could imagine, like a thing that's just clipped onto your pillowcase doing to tell you when you went to bed, when you fell asleep, and when you woke up. Like, it does kind of remarkable.
Is it accelerometer based? I mean, it must be.
I have no idea.
Well, it's got to be accelerometer in it, because it's not measuring anything in the pill.
It's capturing pressure. You think it's capturing I
movement.
Moved,
yeah,
and then all of a sudden I'm no longer moving.
Yeah, that's the only thing it can be tracking.
I don't know about you, but you'll see things in your timeline sometimes. You were moving around quite a bit at 3 a.m. or something, or your partner was moving around quite a bit in the middle of the night. So yeah, I think it's definitely just V1 of this stuff. But
it's a pretty good V1.
It's pretty good for a V1 for a Kickstarter project. It's beyond Kickstarter for me. This is well, some Kickstarters are all right, they're Kickstarters and they just die
that
on
magnet
the vine,
one,
and then they just sort of die. But this is a real thing. I think that's going to continue to move forward. I'd like to see them on Shark Tank one day.
Yeah, maybe. I think these people kind of. I don't know. I feel like you do a successful Kickstarter, you're kind of above Shark Tank because you're a product and a company.
Then you go to Shark Tank. You're like, that's how we started. Now we're selling this much. And
what's interesting, and then I'll work in. So I'm just rounded up. $129. It's from a company called hello.is.
They're very Apple-y.
Yeah,
in their marketing and in their.
I thought the packaging was kind of it's a lot, and I was like, you could have made this a lot simpler. Anyway. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, that big thing for the pill.
Yeah,
didn't really need that.
And the pills, are tiny.
The pill is like a quarter.
The other thing that's interesting. So what does monitor in the room is temperature, humidity, brightness,
air quality,
noise, and air quality. But what's cool about that is that it's now another connected device that monitors stuff. You can go in and see over a week's period. I mean, there's the chart at the bottom, a chart of my room temperature. You can see it go up and down throughout the days as, at the peaks and valleys. So it's kind of a little mini, I picked the the canary that my thing that monitors stuff. So now this is another one, another room, and it's monitoring stuff that's in your house. And so I think that's cool. The sleep thing, I've only been using about a week or maybe even less. My sleep score is really low. I don't sleep half as well as you do.
No, you
I haven't gotten my wife to get hers set up yet. So when I do,
I just set mine up for her. I said, "Give me your phone."
Right.
I'm setting this up.
Right.
She doesn't care about it though.
She never checks it. Checks her
She
score.
checked it and she's like, "This thing, I don't like it." I'm like, "Well, why don't you give it a chance to like get it right? Like let it tune." And she's like, "Yeah, it doesn't. It's not getting it. Like, cause she gets up a lot.
Yeah.
Like before she goes to bed.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't. It wasn't working quite well for her. Like it wasn't getting the numbers right. Like it was like, why does it say that you're moving? It would bug her because it'd be like, why does it say you're moving? And then when you look at my timeline, I wasn't moving. So it was like bugging her that she's like, something's wrong with this. It's not working. So
Okay.
she just stopped.
All right.
She still has it on the pillowcase, but I don't think
good.
she looks at the numbers.
And the one drawback is that, and I think this is where you'll see it go in the future, is that it's only got like one piece of it. So it's only tracking the movement inside. So it's got all the stuff, but the sensor itself is by your side of your bed. And then the pill is is on your pillow. Of course, that only revolves around as good as your pillow, where your pillow is, how many pillows you have.
Yeah,
and if
you were like dumbfounded by this.
Well,
You're like, I don't know what pillow I use.
Well, that pillow could fall on the floor.
How does your pillow fall on the
Because
floor?
you have more than one pillow.
Your whole world doesn't make sense to me. I have 3 pillows, but I sleep on top of one of them.
But
Like all
now,
3.
and now I actually have to make sure that I'm sleeping on the right pillow. It's before I didn't
Your
care.
whole world is just
No.
It's like a whole new thing. For
Everybody
me.
else in the world has more than one pillow.
No, I understand,
But they don't
There
have
are
a
6
main pillow.
There are 6.
They don't have a-
right. The idea of not having a main
Why do you
pillow
need a main
just
pillow?
doesn't make sense
If
to
they're
me.
all the same, why do you need a main one?
You need a main one.
You don't need a main one. All right. So I, for my birthday, which was in June this month, I've got a couple of these connected home things, but I picked up or got for my birthday Nest.
Nice.
Not just Nest, but Nest Protect. So Nest is a company bought by Google, and they started off with, I think this was their first product, was Nest Protect. I have the Nest Protect 2.
Okay.
And what it is they have a whole suite now. You've seen their commercials now where they have like drop cam. They have a drop cam. They have the Nest, that's the temperature gauge, and they have Nest Protect.
And the thermometers, the
thermometers,
gauge.
the temperature gauge. You see that commercial. You've seen and then they have the one where the kids go upstairs and it's like telling you that's the Nest Protect. So Nest Protect goes in and replaces your fire detector or smoke detector. Mm-hmm. It does smoke and carbon monoxide, and does a couple other things. So it's a connected device. It connects up. It connects to your Wi-Fi. A couple of things that make it a little bit more interesting than a normal dumb smart detector. One is it checks itself, like does a diagnostic test 400 times a day, which is pretty impressive. So you're not worried about bad batteries or whatever. It also checks its own sensors. It actually has a way of sending out a noise that it can then sense that it can see. Like it kind of checks its own sensors all the time. It's kind of an interesting thing. Third, which is of course where we love stuff, is that it has data that I can connect up to on my phone, and I can see some points. I can see when it was plugged in, if it is plugged in, if it's it does a thing like when you at night it'll at one point in the night it'll say I'm protecting you. It calls this Protect Promise. It's a little weird.
You are protected. It's like RoboCop.
It also smart, so you name it and tell it where it is, and so like mine's called Entryway. So it'll say there's a fire in the entryway,
Right.
Because it knows where it is. It also has natural voice.
How many of these? You have one.
I need 2. I
You
have
probably
one.
need 2.
Well, I
right?
only have 2. You need 1 because you have one
I
detector.
have one. So it replaces the smoke
Replaces
detector. Totally,
completely.
just pull the smoke detector off the wall and throw this one on it.
Um,
And the building is cool with that.
yeah.
They don't care.
Yeah, well, they care. It's a better one than the original one.
Okay.
Some other neat things. It has a light in it that you can set that every time someone at night when you walk by it, it just turns on a light glow, like to give you like so you can
on the way to the bathroom.
on your way to the bathroom. And what's the other thing? Oh, and if you have a fire, or if it knows the difference of different kinds of fires, but you can also if if it's like you're burning something in the kitchen, you can go over and you can just wave it off, and it'll stop for like 30 minutes.
Just wave it?
You wave at it.
That's great, because you normally have to like climb up on a
right.
ladder and take a battery out or something
smart.
stupid.
So it waves. So you wave at it. You're burning something. You just wave in front of it, and then it goes, okay, I know you're whatever.
You're cool.
Yeah. So it's very cool. I mean, I'm so excited about the home automation stuff. This is one of the ones, I think this is the one that's going to work with HomeKit, the Apple one. So again, there's going to be this whole convergence. Some of these devices will be in, some will be out. You can see the point of where I'm talking to my device in my house. Hey Siri, how is the entryway? What's the temperature in my bedroom? Blah, blah, blah. You can just see this sort of stuff coming together. I love this stuff. I have another one coming next week. Another one coming I have like 3 of these that I could pick because I have a couple of these.
Oh, these home automation deals.
Yeah,
I want one of these Nests.
These are good. And $99. I mean, it's less than cents.
It is.
I mean, we live in an apartment building. We also have fire. We have sprinkler systems in our apartment building. So.
Which I hope would never, ever go off.
Hopefully never
Just
go off.
ruin everything.
But again, I really like the one piece of stat that it tells you on the little app is it tells you how many times the light went on over the night. So in theory, if you match this up with your Sense data, or your Sense says, oh, you got up twice to go to the bathroom, this thing would say, yeah, you got up to go twice to the bathroom because we saw you go by it.
Right.
I mean, in some ways, it's so spooky because all these devices are kind of, if they all learned together, they could really mess up your life.
Just take over your entire house.
I'd love Sense to talk to my Apple Watch, which I don't wear at night.
Yeah.
But like if you were wearing at night, then your heart rate, your blood pressure.
That is one of the things that I wish Apple Watch were able to do, like in terms of battery.
I think it could. It could do 24 hours.
Yeah, but
it's
then
just when are you going to charge it? Right. When are you going to charge it?
Right. Because then you can't wear it during the day, which is actually when you want to wear it.
That's right.
More than when you're sleeping.
I mean, it is one of the things that like. It would be great to wear it tonight. I'd love for this thing to be keeping watching and then work with this data.
The thing is the way that you charge it. Now, while it's rather innovative, now we're way off topic.
Yeah, way off topic.
We're done with picks. If you want to hang with us and talk about how to charge an Apple Watch, fine. But like the way that you charge the Apple Watch is kind of innovative, right?
Yeah.
No plug, it just sort of magnet thing that starts charging.
Did you buy another one?
No, I didn't.
Oh, I did.
I just have the one.
I've traveled with it, and I hated unplugging it, so I bought another one.
I've looked into third-party holders for it.
Yes.
I have seen a couple that I kind of like these little wooden ones where the thing comes out through the back, and I'm like, ooh, that looks nice.
Yep.
I kind of want one of those.
But I'm waiting because we now know the new software, which we'll talk about next week, that on its side turns into a little alarm clock.
Right.
So you want one that goes on its side. All these makers made all these ones that are standing up, and they're not going to work.
Right. But I don't really care because, I mean, maybe I do.
Because it's an alarm clock now.
Because then I can get rid of my alarm clock. Because I don't use my alarm clock for an alarm anymore. I use my Sense for that.
I've not had an alarm clock for a billion years.
Yeah, it's one of those things that I wish, though, as innovative as that is, or maybe isn't, because, things can charge without being plugged in. You see the commercials for the Samsung phone where they plop it on the thing and it starts charging, and then they put the iPhone and it's like, no charge.
Right.
I wish that the charging could have been done a little differently, because then you could wear it when you're sleeping.
And charge it on you?
Why not?
I feel like it's not that. I just have to figure out how long it takes to charge. If it took 15, I think that's where I would want to get. If it took 15 minutes, great. Because I take it off when I take a shower.
Morning, I charge it, and then, take a shower.
Right.
Pop it back on.
That's right.
That's
where we're going to get.
I think if it got down to 0, it would take more than 15 minutes to get up to 100.
Right.
You don't need it at 100, but then you kind of do, because you're going to wear it all night. You'd never catch back up to 100.
But the other thing is going to be motion. Like, eventually we'll get to motion charging things.
That would be the best.
We're getting there.
Because you go for a run, it just charges.
Walk? It charges. I mean,
or other things.
Wow. You're terrible.
Other things.
I'm going to call you out. What other things?
Other things.
What?
Anything.
What?
Just like typing.
Do you want to talk about NGO again?
Typing?
How do I save you from yourself? I mean, your terrible, terrible talks. All
That
right.
was good.
Let's move on.
Let's move on to
All
the
right.
end.
Well, let's wrap this up.
Close it up.
Follow us. Follow Justin if you dare at Just Edelstein. I'm at Jason M. Atwood. The company's at Arkus Inc. We're on Facebook, facebook.com/Arkus Inc. The Success Community Group. We're big up in the Success Community Group. LinkedIn, Google+. Remember, subscribe and review iTunes and Stitcher. That's where you'll find out if we don't publish things for a month because Justin is sick. Until next week, we will be back. Justin and Jason saying enjoy those cloudy days.